Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Sandu with Matt Kernan.
Hey.
And we figured it would be a good idea, since we both love this game, to just chat a little bit about Mark of the Ninja, the recently released indie title from Klei Entertainment. So, let's just get right into it. Matt, what do you think of Mark of the Ninja?
I loved Mark of the Ninja.
Me too.
This
is
so
a
awesome.
fantastic. Yeah, this is a fantastic game, and I remember. I talked about this a little bit with Randy and DJ when we were recording the last episode of VGH. That we knew the game was coming out, but we didn't really have a concrete release date. And then last week, you were telling everybody via Twitter, oh, the game's out, check it out.
Yeah, because I followed their work a little bit. I played Shank and Shank 2, and I didn't love those, but I enjoyed them quite a bit.
Right.
So when I saw this, I thought, oh, that looks kind of cool. It's kind of got the same art style, and you can tell they're pretty much using the same engine. But I was like, these stealth elements look really cool in the trailers I was seeing. So I was definitely anticipating
all I knew
it.
about Klei was that they made the Shank games, and I never really played them because from what I'd heard, they were kind of just straight-up action games, not a whole lot of more to it than that, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Just straight-ahead, hack-and-slash brawler type thing.
I remember when I saw the first trailer for Mark of the Ninja, I'm like, this looks really, badass. Just to sum it up real quick, who hasn't dreamed of being a ninja, especially, as a child of the 80s watching all those horrible ninja flicks. I always wanted to be a ninja, and it's like, all right, in this game I get to be that. It's been a while since I've played a really good stealth action game. So, what were some of your favorite parts? What did you like? What did you love?
Well, I really liked the way that they took all these stealth elements as far as visibility and line of sight and sound, and trying to focus on staying hidden, but applying that to a 2D game. There haven't been a ton of those, especially not lately. So I thought that was really cool. There were actually parts of the game when you were sort of approaching a group of enemies and trying to strategize how you would sort of swoop down and take guys out, that I actually kind of got a Batman Arkham Asylum vibe from parts of that.
Yeah, definitely.
I was like, okay, well, how am I going to go and get that guy? And then I got to get away, and then...
Especially when you're perched in the treetops or on a lamp or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
From above. Yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Never thought about that. There were points, when you can unlock some of the special moves where you can kill a dude and hang him from a lamppost or from a tree limb or something like that. I really got this that Batman vibe. When he could hang enemies to scare some of the enemies. That was fantastic.
Exactly.
That was a nice
yeah,
touch.
the terrifying the guards was one of my favorite things about it. Like, as you got later in the game and you sort of got a grasp on how everything really worked and how everything sort of interplayed with each other, there were times where I think I had like a chain of 4 different things where I'd kill one guy and then use him to terrify a guard, and then he'd start shooting and kill another guy, and that would terrify yet another guard.
That was my favorite gameplay mechanic.
Before you know it, you've got like 1,600 points out of the blue.
Yeah, because they're all freaking out and shooting each other, and you can throw noisemakers and stuff, and they'll see that item, freak out, and start shooting in that direction. And if you line it up properly, you can have a frightened guard take out like 2 or 3 more. Yeah, that kind of chaos, that controlled chaos, was really fun to inflict on enemies for sure.
Yeah, that noisemaker, I didn't use it a whole lot early in the game. I was like, well, this is okay. But then later, when you're able to upgrade it, where you can manually set it off, did you ever do that?
I did. I primarily played more of like a hunter style. So, when you can unlock different costumes that boost different abilities or play styles, you can get one that allows you to run silently or, scare enemies. Like anytime an enemy stumbles across a body, normally an alarm will get set off. But if you use the nightmare costume that you can unlock, anytime a guard finds a body, he'll freak out immediately. So I started using that. And that basically locked me out of being able to use distraction items.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because there's, 2 different types of items that you can use, right? You can use distraction items to draw enemies to or from a point, or traps, which will kill enemies or cause them to do more damage style.
Like flesh-eating insects, for example.
Crazy shit like that. Yeah, exactly. But and you mentioned like the audio and visual cues, and that was something that I thought Klei did a fantastic job of implementing. Like when you can basically see the radius of any noise you make, you could kind of strategize on, if I jump from a certain height, it'll make a noise bubble or noise circle that might alert a guard that's underneath me, so I might have to jump somewhere else. Like, it just gave you the ability to plan things out a lot better.
Yeah, I think the way I'd put it is that they just completely nailed the situational awareness.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
It's such a brilliantly designed game, every single little detail. Everything from the sight lines and the visual cues to when you're in the shadows.
It was interesting because in most 2D games, you can see the entire playing field.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas in this, you can't see through doors, but you can lean up against them and you can see what's behind the doors to try to make up a plan, but it won't give you such an extreme edge, just enough so you can have an idea of a plan of attack. And I thought that was really good. Taking gameplay elements from 2D side-scrollers or action games that we're used to and changing them enough so they fit into it, so it forces you to have to think about your plan of action, was just wonderfully done.
Right, yeah, I totally agree. And I know Randy on the podcast was saying he started to get a little bit burnt out toward the end, but I don't think I ever reached that point, because I felt like, and no spoilers here, but I felt like towards the end they introduced a couple of different elements in the last few stages where it sort of took the environmental puzzle aspect of the game to sort of another level, in a sense.
Yeah, that became the primary focus of trying to navigate the level.
It was just enough of a tweak where you had to sort of think a slightly different way, and I thought that was a pretty cool touch. And plus, with all the upgrades, it's like, oh, now I can do this with this thing, this familiar item, now I can do a little bit more with it.
Yeah, by the end of the game, I really felt like an all-powerful badass ninja who could do whatever the guards and the enemies became my playthings, and I really liked how in the latter half of the game that was kind of taken away from me. I felt back on edge. I mean, without getting into details, spoiler-wise, I thought that was a really nice touch. So yeah, unlike Randy, I mean, I did not get burned out. I got close, but the game was perfect length for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I clocked in around 10, 11 hours when all was said and done. I certainly did have that phenomenon where I wanted to try to get the highest score possible at the end of any level, because I didn't like seeing you or Randy score higher than mine. So I'd always retry whenever I would get spotted or fail or didn't execute kill streaks the way I felt I could the most efficiently for the most points. I would always restart.
See, there were a couple of times, look, this is one of those games that has that amazing score chase element where you're comparing with your friends, and I was starting to get frustrated because I was playing it so relentlessly that I would look at like the level I was about to play, and neither of you had played it yet, and I was like, oh man, come on, when I finish it I want to see how I stack up. And I think Randy and I were a few levels ahead of you for a day or so, I think. And
yeah, for a long time.
And so I would look and be like, oh, Randy, because he beat me like a tiny little margin.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where you guys, I think you beat me by like 50 points or 100 points or something, marginal.
Right.
And I'm like, well, do I want to go back through that level again or just keep playing? And so I did, and then I ended up crushing your score by 20,000 points in the next level, so I got my revenge that way.
I know, I couldn't believe it. We were, I thought I was holding my own pretty well, and then you finished the game, and then you're just miles ahead of both of us.
I spent a lot of time, man. I mean, maybe to my detriment, I don't know. Normally, I'm not like this. Like that, that competitive leaderboard or scoreboard type of thing. I normally don't care, but for some reason, I was compelled to always go back and try to do my best in this game. So I would repeat little scenarios over and over.
Yeah, I mean, this game is really, really excellent for people who like to perfect a run through a level,
Oh yeah, I can totally see those obsessive types having a great time with this game. Like, if you ever look at the world leaderboards, some people have these astronomical scores and I think some of them might be glitching.
That could be.
But then you have these legitimate looking scores, and I just wondered to myself, like, how much patience and practice did it take to get that kind of a score? So that was really awesome.
Yeah, they're probably pulling off some wicked, terrifying chains.
Yeah.
But we haven't even really mentioned the art style. The art style was beautiful, I thought.
Yeah, the game is gorgeous.
Everything looks so wonderfully illustrated and animated. I love it.
I remember when Courtney, my wife, when she walked by, and she's actually in the middle of playing, and she's kicking my ass in all the scores. But when she walked by and saw it, she's like, "Oh, that looks like a Disney game." And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, it kind of does."
So you stab somebody in the back.
Oh, it looks like a R-rated Disney game.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah, the game is just gorgeous with the use of lighting and shadows and the way it ties into the stealth elements in the gameplay. It was just you could tell like every element of the game, from the sound design and the level design, enemy AI design, it was all meant to empower the player and make you think about how you want to navigate everything.
Yeah, and I think the pacing of the game was really, really well designed as well, as far as how things are introduced and how they ramp up the difficulty of the levels and of the enemies and give you new abilities and all of that stuff. To a T, it was excellent.
Yeah, I thought through and through the game was damn near perfect. So I'm definitely, I mean, I wasn't really paying attention too much to what Klei was doing before, but I am now. I mean, they're definitely on my radar as an indie developer to watch, and now or in the future.
Well, and see, as someone who has played some of their previous games, the only thing I could really fault the game for is, you know, not really something about the game itself. The only thing I have a problem with is that it's exclusive to Xbox right now.
Yeah, because Microsoft Studios is publishing it.
I mean,
right?
somebody at Microsoft must have known they had a hit on their hands or something, because all of Klei's, you know, previous games have been multi-platform in some form or another.
Now, they did say they are going to try to bring it to PC, but a PlayStation release is probably very unlikely.
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what they always say, but there's probably some, you know, contractual obligation to keep it exclusive for 6 months or a year or something like that.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
So,
I mean, if you have an Xbox, definitely, I mean, I recommend the game.
Absolutely.
Completely.
And if you don't, cross your fingers and hope that it comes out one day on your console of choice.
Yeah, so, I mean, any other thoughts on the game? Obviously, we both love the game. I mean,
yeah, it's probably my favorite game I've played this year so far.
Wow. Okay, that's high praise. This has been a fucking amazing year for games so far. This your favorite?
Well, maybe I have a short memory. I'd have to go back and look at the release lists, I think.
All right. Well, I guess we're contractually obligated here to score the game. So, I mean, what do you give it?
You know, it was okay. I'm like a 2, 2.5. No, I loved it. I would definitely give it a 5 out of 5. Yeah,
I'm with you on that. I don't like to hand out 5 out of 5s, but the Mark of the Ninja totally deserves it. Yeah, I also give it a 5 out of 5. I mean, there's not really much more I guess we could say. I mean, highly recommend it to anybody who loves, you know, Castlevania games, fucking Metal Gear, doesn't matter. If you just like ninjas or good games, I would recommend it for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, anything else?
I think that about covers it.
All right. Well, I mean, Mark the Ninja. Check it out, folks. I mean, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is Paul Sandu.
And this is Matt.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
He'll be back.